Hi there, and welcome to another episode of BG's Broken Records. My name is Bob, my co-host.
Gare.
There he is. We're here to entertain you for the next 20 to 25 minutes about music. We hope to do that, and we have a new intro that we actually paid to have recorded. So listen to our intro, sit back, and we'll be back in a few seconds.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Okay, quiet. That's enough. This is a podcast by my dad and my uncle. They talk a lot about music, like a lot. So please sit back and enjoy. I think they are going to start in about 14 seconds.
I love that stuff. Okay, so here we sit on a surprisingly sunny Michigan morning, February something, 5th-ish, recording episode 6 of our podcast. We've played it for a few people, and we've gotten some good responses. We have a couple people interested in doing a little sponsorship for us, so we're excited about that, but we're not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet. Might be something.
We do have a second sponsor.
But
that's all we're going to say.
That's all we're going to say. You might have to just kind of keep tuning in to figure out who it is. So today, being a former bass player in a band with some buddies, this one is near and dear to my heart. But Gare brought it up. We need to start talking about the bass players because they are just unsung heroes. And we'll get into stage managers in another podcast. No, we won't. No, we'll skip those guys.
Of course we'll get into stage managers, but not today.
Hey, you know what we should do one time? Nastiest managers out there. D. Anthony, Sharon Osbourne's dad.
Yeah.
What was his name? He did the Small Faces and the Animals. And Peter Green. No,
who
was it Led Zeppelin? Who did? It was Peter Grant. Peter Grant.
Oh yeah.
Peter
we could
Grant.
also do Billy Joel's brother-in-law who stole all the money from him.
I don't know about that one. I think
there's another one.
Grant also did Free. But okay, so the bass players. So Gare sent me a couple days ago a list of. He wanted to actually dive into Canadian bass players, and I can't think of more than one. And I think he won't.
That list might not be bigger than 3.
Yeah, well. So,
once you get past Geddy Lee.
Well, but the funny part was when I looked at the list, it had Keanu Reeves on there, and I thought, okay, wait a minute. Is he in a band called The Matrix or something like that?
Oh, hello.
Hey, whoa. Hey, guy's worth $300 and something million, man.
And supposed to be the nicest
guy in the world. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so we're not going to focus on Canadian bass players because a lot of people will probably tune out on that one. But we're going to go with top 10 bass players from 2010 versus today, and we're going to kind of focus on the old adage, out of sight, out of mind. And it's like we've talked about Boston before. Boston goes 7 years between an album. How they even get people to want to buy that thing 7 years later? I mean, tastes change. I mean, look at 87, 88 hair metal. And then 92, you've got Nirvana.
I don't want to give away any secrets. I am a closet hair metal fan. I do have the hair metal station on Sat Radio programmed in my car. That's all I'm going to say.
Because your car can hold more than 6 stations. Of course you're going to put hair metal in there. I mean,
hey, every time you got to check in with Kip Winger once in a while. You know what I mean?
Dude, the Nelson brothers? I mean, come on.
Hey, that's where I draw the line. But my number one,
Go.
Tesla.
Oh,
Tesla.
yeah. But you know what?
Yeah.
I don't even think they're hair metal.
Oh.
I think they're just
okay.
rock and roll. They're just good old Sacramento rock and roll.
Sacramento's what, Bob?
Capital of California.
Sacramento's finest.
Sacramento's finest.
That's another show, but they do run a lot of Tesla on the hair metal station. We digress.
Yeah, we are. Okay, so we just killed 5 minutes of our 2025. So, okay. So going back to out of sight, out of mind. So the difference in bass players from 2010 to 2020 is pretty damn amazing. And I apologize if you don't like bass players, but that just hurts. Don't be a bass player hater. Okay. So I'm scrolling.
And no one ever talks about the bass player.
That's right. Okay. We're going to go backwards. Victor Wooten. Heard of him. Played with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Supposedly one of the greatest out there. I hate to say it. I don't know much about the guy. But you know what's good about these lists? And Spotify? I can figure it out.
Absolutely.
I can find out. Now, I like this one. Cliff Burton. So, bass player for Metallica. On the first 3 albums, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets. Only on 3 albums, right?
They still talk about him.
Still talk about him.
Still talk about him.
Now, someone's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but bass playing in a metal band, root 5th, octave, root 3rd, flatted 4th, don, don, don. Am I being too mean, Gare?
No, it's a little different than, say, Entwistle or Lemmy. There's a great YouTube vid out there when Lemmy walks up and goes, here's how most bass players play. And he does this boring thing, and then he goes, this is how I play. Turns up every knob on the amp as loud as it can go. And then he goes...
He turned him to 11.
Well, you know what? There's another good interview out there with John Entwistle, and he goes, I don't play bass. I'm a bass guitarist. He
Bingo.
goes, I play bass. He goes, I play bass guitar,
right?
Not bass.
Right.
And he does the same thing Lenny does. He starts playing it like a loud guitar, and that's why I always respected, again, unsung hero, as you said at the beginning of this, Bob, but it's a bass guitar. And it's the heartbeat of the band. I never played in a band. You did. But why do you think the drummer and the bass player are always hanging out together? They're setting the whole bass, quote-unquote bass for the band.
Yeah, there's got to be a chemistry between those two guys, because without it, it's pretty unbelievable. It's not a lot of fun. But just Cliff Burton real quick. So he dies when he's on tour. With Metallica, he was 24 years old.
24.
Then they bring in Jason Newsted, which, can anyone replace, Cliff Burton? Well, they did. And
where was Jason from?
I can't remember the band he was from, but,
No, what state? What city?
Do you know?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Shut up.
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
The home of the Griffins?
And wait, the big old Bob building downtown?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. What other band is from 2 guys from Grand Rapids? You know it. You know it. You know it.
I don't know.
The Spicy Pepper, the Red Hot Chili.
Oh, yes. Anthony
Yeah.
spent a little till he was about 12 and was buddies with my old roommate and a guy you knew, Nathan.
Yep.
Nathan Oliver.
Yep.
Whoops, don't want to say last name.
Hey, don't say. Well, that must be his middle name then. And then Mike, my buddy Mike, rest his soul, was buddies with Chad Smith. So okay, we're off the bass players now. Okay, so they filled in. They got Jason Newsted, carried on, probably got even more famous, and then Jason basically said, "I'm out. Not going to do it anymore," and they brought in the new guy. Apologies, don't know what the new guy's name is. Okay, number 8 on this list. This guy should always be in the top 5. Jack Bruce, John Mayall's Blues Breakers, obviously Cream. His solo album, first album that he put out, I think it was his first solo album, either one or two. Songs of a Tailor, unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. Great album all the way through. Go get it on vinyl, spin it. It's 30 minutes. Life is good. But Jack Bruce, sorry, you couldn't beat that guy. It's my opinion.
Unreal. And I love when they show Cream. They do a show at the Royal Albert, and then just before, I think Jack died first. But what year was that last the reunion?
I think it was 05 or 07.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it says right here 05. Shows in London and New York.
Yeah. Yeah. He kind of was sitting on a stool a lot, but great vocals, great bass player.
Yeah, and he was a huge writer for him too. You know, hey, I love Clapton. Without Bruce, that band wouldn't have been it. Okay, so now we're going to another one, number 7, and I know this guy, Jaco Pastorius. Could arguably be in the top 2 or 3 bass players of all time. Played with a ton of bands. The big one for him was Weather Report.
Sure.
Got into, one of the first guys to pick up a fretless bass and just go hog wild on it. But he was, he was bipolar. He did a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol to medicate, probably voices, and he died a tragic life. Get on Spotify, and you know what? I'll put a list together. I'll do that, and then we'll just link it to this episode, and you can listen to a little Jaco, because he was stunning. He was unbelievable.
Crazy. Played with Sam and Dave.
Yeah. Well, and my favorite, Ian Hunter. So yeah, Jaco. Okay, so far we've got Victor Wooten, we've got Cliff Burton, we've got Jack Bruce, we've got Jaco, John Paul Jones. I mean, again, top 5 for sure. Listen to any Zeppelin song, and without his groove in the background, you're not going to get it.
So underrated. Besides bass, keyboards, mandolin. You want to talk about a guy who doesn't get any credit. I mean, unreal what he did for Zeppelin. And I will say this, recently with the Taylor Hawkins, who just died from Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And Dave Grohl, I think, is great. The way he goes out and grabs older musicians and all that. Yeah. There's one where Paul Stanley from Kiss comes out with them. But there's one where they're playing with John Paul and Jimmy Page doing rock and roll. You want to see John Paul Jones bass talent? Pull that video up. Foo Fighters doing rock and roll with John Paul and Jimmy Page.
Wow.
Unreal.
I'll have to check it out. But, John Paul Jones was, just like Jimmy, was a big session player. And, these guys learned, I read one time, I think it was in Bass Player magazine. I know it's a narrow subscription market for that one. But he said everything he tried to play was originally Motown stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look, I read a book one time, and it said basically the bass player's job is to get everybody in the band from one note to another, right? So you're playing an A, you're playing an A, you're playing an A, then you're going to play a D, then you're going to play a D, then you're going to play a D, then you're going to play an E. Hey, look at that guy's walking down the street in a Union Jack's ski cap.
What, shiny penny? What? Look at the bird. Wait,
sorry,
what?
I gapped out. But so you're playing all these A lines, you're just playing all these A chords, and the bass player's sitting in the back, and he's got to get you to the D chord. So then he's got to come up with another little lick, and then he's got to get you to the E chord, et cetera, et cetera. Without a good bass player, forget about it. Okay.
So Bob, I'm going to stop you there.
Yep.
And you obviously played bass. You played in bands. I haven't. But through this list and the most recent list, and you just mentioned Motown, who's not on this list?
Yeah, you got it. I'll rag on that later.
Who is the bass player?
James Jamerson.
why don't you say a little bit about him, because you're the one who hit me to him, and he was amazing.
Well, there's I think the two people who don't get the credit are Jamerson and Carol Kay. So and she was the Wrecking Crew. So these are all people who are in studios recording other people's songs. They were both jazz players. They knew what they were doing, and for work, Carol Kay would walk in. They'd hand her the sheet music, and she would play. And she's like, "It's another one of these 3-chord bubblegum pop songs." I mean, she played bass on good vibrations. It wasn't Brian Wilson. It was Carol Kay.
Nice.
And then
was Glenn Campbell sitting in on some of those?
I'm sure he was, because he was the Wrecking Crew. Yeah, I mean that's a great documentary. You got to watch it. And documentary. And with Jamerson, there's one song that I really think is the epitome of all his stuff, and that's his version. Gladys Knight's version, the original version of "I Heard It Through the Grapevine." And you got to watch. There's a young lady out who does, I think it's Tommen's videos, and her name's Julia Hofer, Hofer, and she does videos playing bass. And she was talking about Jamerson. He played with one finger, and he played in the first 4 frets. That's it. He's not done all over the place. They called it the hook. Dang, 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 dang. Heard It Through the Grapevine. Gladys Knight and the Pips. Probably one of the greatest bass lines I've ever heard. Okay. Les Claypool, Primus at number 5. Don't know. Sorry.
Nope.
Yep. Geddy Lee, number... Sorry, Les Claypool, Primus fans.
Look at the old guys.
Next. Actually, come on. He was... Primus, they were pretty hot in the 90s, so we weren't that old at that time. Okay, Rush, number 4, Geddy Lee. I'll let you take that one.
Well, you're letting me take it because it's Canadian. And the only reason I love it, my grandma was from Windsor, so I've got Canadian blood in me. I never saw Rush. A little bit of a regret, no regrets in life, but I wish I would have. But when we were growing up, Bob, between Rush, Tom Petty, Bob Seger in this town, they played so much of it. You didn't need to go see him in concert. But
isn't Detroit in Canada? Oh, it's the only spot north of Canada. That's right.
Pretty much in Canada, but not. What can you say about it was the singing bass player. And Bob, there's another show.
That's a talent.
Phil Lynott, Sting, the singing bass player. Well, actually, the real talent's the singing drummer. I digress.
Yeah. Well, the singing bass player, that takes us to number 3, Sir Paul.
Way to keep us on track, Bob.
Yeah, thank you very much. Gary's the Stones fan. I'm the Beatles fan. We're not going to talk too much about those bands. I know they're going to come up in conversation because I love them to death. Without George Martin and the way he produced those Beatles albums, McCartney's music would not have been, his bass playing would not have been what it is, because they put him higher in the mix. It stood out more. Nobody had ever done that before. And then people started copying it. And if it wasn't for McCartney, you wouldn't have Jack Bruce and da-da-da-da-da. So
100%.
Sir Paul. And you know what? I owned a knockoff of those violin basses. They're so easy to play. They are. And they're light.
Really?
Yeah. I sold it for $99 through Mike. I shouldn't have done it.
There's also a good interview with Entwistle's son. Look it up on YouTube. Every year they'd come out with the, number 1 bass player when these guys were going head to head. And McCartney would always take Entwistle. Entwistle was always number 2, and it always pissed him off.
Yeah,
because he always thought he was better.
He was.
Obviously.
He was.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just used to piss him. His son, there's a good interview of his son talking about it and how it used to just get under his skin every year.
Right. But okay, I'm just going to throw two short sentences out to you. Boris the Spider or Good Day Sunshine. Come on. If Entwistle could write songs, and have a decent voice, you know, he was
Correct.
he was an amazing bass player. I'll give you that all day long. So
Right. And I'm not sitting here. I don't know who's better, who's not, but it's a good story.
Right.
Look it up on YouTube.
okay, so number 2, Flea. Yeah, I'm not a
Pretty impressive.
yeah, I get it. I saw him
He's
play.
a little bit of a slap the bass.
He's a slap the bass guy. And if nobody gets that joke, watch I Love You Man, the movie with Paul
Slapping
Rudd.
the bass.
Oh, when he wants to play a Rush song to his girlfriend, he goes, "Are you ready for Neil Peart to get all up in you?" And she's like, "No."
No.
And then he hits the button and it comes over the computer mic.
Great movie.
So hilarious. And I gotta give those guys credit from Rush to go into the movie and play along in the movie. God, that was funny.
At that time in their career, they didn't need to do that.
They didn't need to do that. Yeah. Okay. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea. Okay. I'll let someone else take that one. I don't really listen to this Chili Peppers. And then we're gonna
but
go ahead.
But Flea, good slam. And the best part about Flea was always the teddy bear pants. That was funny. Just funny, but he's a quality guy, quality musician, I should say. And always enjoyed him. Again, I don't listen to a lot of Peppers, but what he is really good.
Yeah. So then number 1, Entwistle. We've already talked about him. I can't argue with him at number 1. McCartney number 3, I can't argue that one because I think he did a lot. John Paul Jones, Jocko should be higher than number 7, in my humble opinion. Okay, so now we're going to segue to a list that was created 10 years later. 10 years later. And I'm going to run through them real quick and then we'll go back through because I want you to see that there's almost absolutely no duplication here. I'm going to go to number 10. Number 10, Cliff Williams, AC/DC. Huh. Number 9, Jeff Ament, Pearl Jam. Number 8, Lee Sklar, Session Legend.
Nice.
Scott Reeder, Session Star. Ryan Medora, Sessions. Susie Quattro, number 5. Number 4, Victor Brand from Dimmu Borgir.
Right.
Okay.
Michael
Manring, Jerry Barnes from Nile Rodgers and Chic, which used to be just Chic.
Yeah.
And then number 1, John Campbell, Lamb of God. Okay. There is absolutely no crossover. 0.
No. Well, and again, as we were speaking offline, Bob, okay, I get it. Let's update it. It's 10 years later. But you have Susie Quattro and still no James Jamerson?
Hey, look, you and I both dig Susie Quattro.
100%.
That's not the argument. I mean, one of my presents from you was a Susie Quattro T-shirt for my birthday, which was your birthday. So, and that's all well and good. I don't think she should be number 5. Now, I hope her brother, who lived above me on Beaconsfield, doesn't hear this. I didn't get a laugh out of that one?
Oh, right,
Yeah,
Beaconsfield.
okay, yeah,
yes.
okay, all right.
I'm going to venture to say she shouldn't even be on the list. Whoa, I said it. Sorry.
And you're a fan.
Yeah, I just don't get it. And Joe McLever, who was the author of this, again, dude, it's all personal opinion.
Right,
at the end of the day. And it's respectable. I respect the list. I respect the energy that went into it. I get it. But what does this mean? Nothing. It gives us something to talk about, and music fans something to digest is what it does.
Right. Sorry if you heard any dings in the background there. We're doing this remotely with some iPhones, and I'm getting notifications. I just got one from Lee Sklar, said he should be higher up. Sorry about that, Lee.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know a lot of these session musicians. I don't know metal
Well, and you know what? Phil Lynott doesn't make the list. How about the bass player for Parliament? I don't know who that was, but there's
Bootsy, dude.
Bass.
There's no Bootsy.
Got my head up my
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Why isn't Bootsy on there?
Why isn't Bootsy on there?
We saw him at the Opera House.
Oh my God!
Wow, when he came out in the audience, started talking to people.
Well, he walked over the chairs. He would walk between people over the chairs, and we were like 12th row, and he's literally in the same row as us. Oh, my wife thought, oh, I should get her a pair of those star glasses.
Those are good.
They are pretty good. So, okay, guys, we're at 25 minutes. I am going to do everyone out there a favor, and we are going to put a little list together with some of these players in there. Click on the link. You'll be able to listen to some of their music. Apologies for not knowing some of these guys. Excuse me. I don't know where my cough button is. But we'll dig into it and we'll figure it out. Little pause. Gare?
Yep.
Yeah, you there? You still there?
Yeah.
You awake?
Still there?
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So thanks for spending time with us. We appreciate it. I'm pointing at you, Gare. Can't you see me?
Right. Yes. Thank you. Thanks again for your time today, and we will see you soon.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Take care. All right. See you later.